Hey everyone, my name is Delaney and I am 25 weeks pregnant. So every year for the past 3 years, my husband and I have been going on a hiking trip with our friends. We're back in Kranjska Gora, and today everyone was going via Ferrata, which of course I was not going to join in on. So the dog, baby B, and I went on a quick 2.5K hike this morning, but I still have a few hours before everyone returns, so I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to film this video for you. Trying to conceive journey videos were some of my absolute favorite when my husband and I started trying to conceive, because it made me realize just how little I actually knew about reproduction and women's bodies. So hopefully in this video, I can give back and share some of what I learned and what I did to help us get pregnant. I've basically just rounded up a few things that I tried during our TTC journey, and I'll go through each of them and why I did them, and hopefully you'll take something away from this. As soon as my husband and I started talking about getting married and having our own family, I began tracking my cycle. I used the Flow app. So this was March of 2020, the first time I ever tracked my cycle. And I basically just marked in the app when I started my period and when I finished it. And this helps you get an idea of how regular you are, which will help you better predict when you are ovulating and should be participating with your husband. And I really, really like the Flow app. I'm still using it now that I am pregnant. But I recommend an app over just marking a calendar, because a lot of these apps have sophisticated algorithms that can help better predict on what day you'll be ovulating based on information that you've inputted in previous months. The fertile window for most women is roughly 5 days before you ovulate and then the day after you ovulate. So if you just get an idea of when your fertile window is, then you should be fine just doing the thing with your husband during that week, and you should be fine. However, if you want even more accurate ways to predict when you are ovulating, I've got you in this video. So the next thing I did about 1 to 2 months before we started actually trying to conceive was take prenatal vitamins. So these are basically just daily vitamins for women with the addition of folic acid, which is really important for embryonic development. So taking the vitamin before you're trying to conceive will help make sure that you're not deficient in any of the important vitamins or minerals, and this can increase your chances of conceiving. So we officially started trying to conceive in September of 2020, which was almost a year ago now. Wow. And this is where the fun begins. So I actually saw another gal on YouTube make a pregnancy planner. And when I discovered that this was a thing, the type A personality in me just lit up. So I knew I had to try it. I went out and got a notebook just for girls and started documenting the trying to conceive journey, and I'm going to show it to you now. So this is what it looks like. It's basically just a tracker, but you're going to start using LH test strips to better predict when you're ovulating. So when we first started trying to conceive, I purchased this kit off of Amazon. It has, it has 50 LH test strips and 20 HCG test strips. So LH is the hormone that surges just before you ovulate, and HCG is the hormone that rises when you're pregnant. So this kit has ovulation and pregnancy tests all in one. And there was more than enough in there to last me. So I highly recommend getting this kit or a kit like it. These are what the tests look like. They're just individual sticks that you pee on. So how you're going to use them is in your notebook, you're going to mark the date and when you start your period. And when you start your period, that is going to be day of cycle 1. And when you finish your period, you're going to wait about a week. This length of time worked for me because I'm quite regular, but you'll learn your cycle as you track it for a few months. And then you're going to start taking the LH test strips twice a day, so in the morning and at night. And you'll find that at some point, the test line will get as dark or darker than the test line. This is how you know that your LH has peaked. And you can stop taking it after this because the line just fades immediately after. But typically women ovulate between 8 and 20 hours after this peak, this surge. So this is really when you want to do the deed with your husband. Sperm can live in a woman's body for up to 5 days, but it's very individual. Like it really depends on the individual. So it's best to get it in there as close to ovulation as possible. And this helps you do that. So once your LH has surged and you've participated with your husband, then you can go ahead and wait another week or so before starting to take the pregnancy tests. I started taking them around 8 DPO because that's the earliest I'd ever seen a woman get a positive line. But on these like flimsy kind of cheaper tests, I think it'll take a bit longer. Maybe if you have one of those really fancy first response magic sticks, then you'll be able to see it if you are pregnant. But if not, you just mark that you got your period and you start a new month on the next page. So month 6 of trying to conceive for us, I discovered basal body temperature. And this is super cool. I had no idea that women's bodies were this precise and amazing. But basically, basal body temperature is the temperature that your body is during rest. So if you wake up in the morning and take your temperature before you even get out of bed, this is your basal body temperature. And if you do this every day at roughly the same time, you'll get an idea of what your basal body temperature is. Now, when women ovulate, our basal body temperature rises. So it rises by 0.1 if you're measuring in Fahrenheit or 0.01 if you're measuring in Celsius. So if you are taking your temperature in Celsius, you're going to want to get a thermometer that does have the 2 decimal places. So I tried this for a month. Every morning when I woke up, I took my temperature. I got an idea of what my basal body temperature was. I still did the LH strips to get an idea of the surge. I watched my basal body temperature rise, and then I watched it fall because I wasn't pregnant. If you are pregnant, your basal body temperature will actually stay at this new heightened temperature. I mean, how cool is that? How cool is that? I did only measure my basal body temperature for 1 month because March was, if you saw my finding out I'm pregnant video, you'll know that March was so hectic. I was in the hospital and yeah, it was wild. So I didn't do it this month, but I did have a follow-up consultation with a doctor after the incident at the hospital. Again, if you saw my finding out I'm pregnancy video, you'll know finding out I'm pregnancy. If you saw my finding out I'm pregnant video, then you'll know what I'm talking about. But when I went to this follow-up consultation, I'd actually ovulated that day. So when she scanned my ovaries, she was able to show me which egg exploded. And she told me that if we got pregnant, this would be the egg that we fertilized. And we got pregnant. So I actually have a picture of my daughter before she was even my daughter, which I think is like super special, really cool. So then I waited. I took the HCG strips. I don't know why I'm struggling to say that. And of course, they were positive. So we were pregnant. And once you get pregnant, then you can turn this journal into a pregnancy kind of diary and sort of document the process, which is really fun. And I'm sure I'll look back years from now and my kids will look back and find this really sentimental. So I'm glad I did it. So yeah, those are all the things that I did while we were trying to conceive. If you have any questions, if I didn't explain something well enough, feel free to ask me in the comments below. I'm an open book, so truly ask anything you want and I'll be happy to answer the best I can. If you are starting your trying to conceive journey, I am so excited for you. I am wishing you the best. Remember that this is just a fun journey to go on with your husband and I'm so excited for you. Other than that, I hope you have a wonderful day and I will see you in my next video. Ciao.